Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, and today I'd like to do something different. 2026 looks like an interesting year for cozy games, and there's 8 that I would like to talk about. Too many to leave it at just 5, but also not enough to have 10 at this moment. So all these are fully releasing this year, except for one outstanding mention. Without further ado, let's get right into it. A game I'd love to see get more attention is Otterly Lost, which has a free demo on Steam right now, and will fully release sometime in 2026 on PC and other platforms yet to be announced. You play as a curious sea otter named Otto, who needs to find their way back home. On the way, you'll befriend and help out various critters with some laid-back tasks, and help save the island in the process. There is a mystical undertone with the story, which I won't spoil here. You can run, jump, climb, glide, and swim, both on the surface and underwater. It's really cool just swimming around underwater and seeing some stuff that you can collect, though hopefully they will have more underwater focused tasks in the future. I love that you can collect various rocks and then choose one to hold onto while floating on your back. It's little details like that which make you feel like you really are playing as an otter. Oh, and yes, you will be able to unlock outfits, though that wasn't available when I was playing with the demo. I did a gameplay video on that a couple months back, so feel free to check that out if you're interested in seeing more. I love the relaxed art style and soundtrack, just a nice game to wind down with. Another game I played on the channel more recently is Everdream Village, which is in early access right now on Steam for $20 US. The full release will be on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. I was sent an early access code for this one, and so far I'm enjoying it. You build up a cozy village where the residents react to the choices you make, and you do many of the things you'd come to expect in a farming sim. Growing crops, looking after livestock, questing, crafting, cooking, fishing, bug catching, that sort of stuff. With the many farming sims we've had, especially in the 2020s, what makes Everdream Village different? Well, using a witch's hat, you can turn into various animals. Right now, I believe it's just your dog, which allows you to understand other animals, and you can get them to follow you around. But there will be more animals you can transform into in the future. You can use a sailboat to discover islands with their own treasures and resources to discover. When building your village, you can terraform the land to create hills, rivers, and dig up fossils. When crafting furniture, there's these puzzles that you can do to actually build the item that you're making instead of it just being completed with the press of a button, which is a cool idea, but most of the time I've used in-game currency to skip over them just because I felt they were a little confusing, but that one table, yeah, I ended up figuring it out. A couple days before I started making this video, they released an update that allows you to decorate the interior of your grandparents' house, with more interiors coming later. They have a whole roadmap showing their current plans. While they haven't set a specific date in 2026, looking at this, I'm guessing the full release will be in the second half of the year. I think the art style is very nice and cozy, and I think it'll be a fun little twist on farming sims. Hopefully the character creator update will be really good though, because as of right now, it's extremely bare bones. Only 2 body types, only 3 hairstyles, none of them are afro textured, and there's not very many clothes, very few skin tones, just all around really not much to customize with. Alright, so Pokemon and I, we go way back. I still remember playing Pokemon Blue as a kid and becoming obsessed with the franchise like many kids did during the late 90s. And the second generation was the peak for me. My interest fell off after that, and seeing the lack of quality control with the latest games, I haven't felt much incentive to go back. But there's been exceptions with some spin-offs, like Pokemon Go, Pokken Tournament, and new Pokemon Snap, which is not really new anymore, but Pokopia may end up being the next spin-off that appeals to me. Pokopia is releasing exclusively on Switch 2 on March 5th. You play as a Ditto, transformed into a human, who somehow ended up in a ruined landscape. You build up a village and create habitats to attract more Pokemon. A fun looking aspect is learning Pokemon's other moves, so you can use Squirtle's Water Gun to revive the land, Bulbasaur's Vine Whip to make grass, Pichu's Thundershock to power lights, and Hitmonchan's punches to make tunnels, for example. You can also transform into a Lapras to swim to other islands, or transform into one of my favorite Pokemon, Dragonite, to fly. There is, of course, growing crops and gardening. Some Pokemon give you quests as well. The game is priced at $70 US. Unfortunately, the physical version is on a game key card, which is just a box with a download code, rather than the game being physically on the cartridge, which is a bizarre choice. I can see why this has been such a big controversy for the Switch 2 in general. The game should just be on the cartridge. You shouldn't need an internet connection to actually get the game if you're buying it physically, right? So I can see why some people are passing on this game because of that. As curious and excited I am to learn more about this game, this might be the only inclusion on the list where I'm actually not 100% sure if I'm going to buy it day one. But if I do, it is going to be on digital. Hopefully the decorating aspect will be fun. It is made by the same team who made Dragon Quest Builders, which I've never played before, but I've heard is really good. Chances are, though, that if you like Animal Crossing and Minecraft, you'll probably like this game too. I imagine Pokopia will be a smash hit for the Pokemon Company this year, and we haven't even had the reveal of Gen 10 that I believe will also be out in 2026 to celebrate the franchise's 30th anniversary. Man, I'm really getting old. Now that we've talked about a couple of village builders, let's pivot to something completely different. The Witch's Bakery I only started following more recently. It's releasing in Q2 of 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. You play as this adorable witch named Lune, who opens up a bakery in a whimsical version of Paris. The gameplay is inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service and Persona 5?
For real?
Yeah, you never saw that coming. Persona being mentioned in a cozy games list. You run your bakery during the day, then you spend the evening exploring Paris, meeting people, learning their struggles, and exploring their heart palace, where you solve puzzles. Yeah, that's definitely where the Persona 5 inspiration kicks in. However, instead of stealing their hearts, at the end of the Heart Palace, you'll learn the key ingredient to make the bread that will heal them. At night, you'll be at home upgrading your skills, messaging your friends, and cooking up new recipes. Of course, there does have to be a wee baguette side. You can customize your bakery, just like you can see in the footage there, so that's really cool. The more I look into this game, especially since I didn't know too much about it before making this video, the more intrigued I am. Lune's little companion Oreo happens to be a reference to Treasure Planet's Morph, and Treasure Planet is one of my favorite Disney movies ever, so yeah, that's a really cool little touch. This game will be priced at $20 US, which sounds like a pretty fair price to me. It's supposed to be about 12 to 15 hours of gameplay, depending on your playstyle and reading speed. The blend between 2D and 3D art looks wonderful, and alongside its focus on baking rather than farming, helps it stand out in the sea of cozy games. Oh, and I hope you've been enjoying the music, because the songs I've used in this specific portion of the video is from the Witch's Bakery soundtrack, which you can listen to samples of on YouTube if you'd like. Overall, this looks like a really interesting, cozy baking adventure, and I'm very curious to see where the storyline will go. Definitely gotta give Tomodachi Life Living the Dream a mention. Very lucky that the dedicated direct happened while I was still making this video. So this is a life sim, but it's a much more bizarre comedic twist on it that's a little more hands-off compared to something like The Sims. So you create Miis and you move them onto an island that you can build and customize however you like, and you just let them live their lives and see what happens. They can fall in love, they can have kids, or just all sorts of like really wacky situations can happen. And there are certain things you can do to influence the directions that their lives go in. Like there's some key characteristics that you pick out, and sometimes your Miis can ask you questions and just like ask for guidance on what to do next. But it does look like a lot of it is just setting up certain things and then just seeing how it plays out in really funny ways. They still have the robotic voices, which is good. I haven't played the original 3DS one, but I have played Miitomo and Miitopia, and it seems like a similar brand of humor. Oh, and the game is $60. Thankfully, it's not a Mario Kart World situation. Probably because it is a Switch 1 game. But I do highly recommend checking out the recent Direct if you haven't already. Now for Paralives, which is a more traditional open world life sim that's starting early access on May 25th for $40 US. The full release isn't happening for at least another year or two, but this game is such a big deal to me, it actually feels weirder to leave it out of this list. The Sims has made the life sim genre such an important one to me and this channel, and Paralives feels like it's the true successor. I know that's a lot of pressure to put on my fellow Canadians who are working on this game, but I really feel this is the one. From the small details that they've revealed in many of their tweets, to even some of the broader stuff they've revealed more recently, it seems like it's not going to be a copy of The Sims. It does have a lot of similar traditional life sim gameplay, but it also does feel like its own twist, much like how Mario Kart is the karting game, but then there's so many other karting games out there that have put their own twist on it that are usually not as fun as Mario Kart, but are still interesting in their own right. The build mode especially feels like a true successor to The Sims, where it appears to be so flexible, where you have things like beds or lights and couches, even this picture frame here. It's not like you need to depend on having multiples of the same object in order to have the sizes you want. You just take the one object and you stretch it. That's it. So you can have a light that goes down different heights from the ceiling without needing 3 different lights. You just have the one that you use. And that's just so cool to me. The art style is a little divisive, I know, but personally, I like it. It has this relaxed vibe that I feel fits this into the cozy genre more than The Sims does. What more can I say about Paralives that I haven't already said across dozens of videos? Paralives is a game that I'm going to be focusing more and more on, especially once early access releases. So if you're interested in learning more about this game and more news as it comes out and gameplay videos and such once the early access is actually out, you're already in the right place. Oh yeah, and the Paralives music, including the one in this video, is just so relaxing. It makes me feel like I'm drifting away on a cloud. Alright, obviously I have to include Witchbrook on this list. It's coming out on PC, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and Xbox sometime in 2026. This is a life sim where you play as a witch attending college in the seaside city of Mossport. In class, you learn various spells that you can use to help yourself as well as the community. You can make friends, there's some characters that you can romance, there's some events that you can partake in, like the Sunday market. You live in a woodland cottage that you can customize, as well as the surrounding garden, and there is online co-op for up to 4 players. While this already sounds fun, what really got me about Witchbrook is the just amount of detail they are putting into this living, breathing world. There are several blog posts where they've talked about various aspects of behind the scenes stuff, like how with the city itself, it adapts to different conditions, like people dressing differently for the weather, schedules changing, and the town getting redecorated to reflect the different seasons. And every single person is simulated with actual exact schedules and everything. So whether you're nearby or not, they are still going to follow those same schedules regardless, which is quite interesting. Like, there's even videos they have showing like all the debug and stuff. There's also a free newsletter you can sign up that gives more information. There was even one where it tells the story of someone in a fish and chip shop who wants to meet this cute witch that he sees from across the street, but he can't go meet her because there's a bunch of seagulls crowding around the fish and chip shop, just waiting for someone to come out. I am a little confused though as to whether this can actually happen in the game, but that would be hilarious. That would be amazing if even the gulls had their own simulation that drives them to crowd around restaurants and stuff when they know people are about to come out. So not only may this be a Game of the Year 2026 contender for me, it may also be the gulliest cozy game of the year. Now, the final entry on this list is none other than Starsand Island. My goodness, I am so hyped for this one. I only learned of Starsand Island this month, and I played the free demo that's available on Steam. I was already so impressed by it because, like, you can only play through 5 in-game days before it cuts you off, and then you can start another save. But there's so much that you can do. I didn't even do gardening. I didn't touch that or fishing. So you don't even necessarily have to focus on farming. So to try and pass this game off as just another farming sim is a massive disservice to what Starsand Island is. While it's not a complete traditional life sim experience like Sims or Paralives or Inzoi, I'd say it is closer to life sim territory than any other cozy game that I know of. The build mode does remind me a lot of The Sims, though it uses a block system. It's not exactly like The Sims, but still very highly customizable, and don't worry, there are pools. You can even make aquariums at some point. There are 5 main professions that you partake in, which include crafting, gardening, ranching, fishing, and adventuring. The last one is pretty unique because usually cozy games don't have combat, but this one does. There's a bow and arrow that you can eventually unlock, but you start off with a slingshot, and there's these corrupted wild animals that you can come across, as well as 3 boss battles that you can find in this moonlit forest location. So you have Starsand Island, which is this open world that's a pretty decent size, and then Moonlit Forest is a separate location that you load into. They are going to add more islands influenced by various cultures around the world. They're supposed to be DLC. I'm not sure if they're going to be paid or free. There are a bunch of characters that you can befriend and romance, and you can even eventually have those romanceable characters move in with you. And there's a whole bunch of transportation options. Like there's cars, rollerblades, skateboards. There's also supposed to be hoverboards and gliders. And there's over 20 different animals that you can use as mounts. Oh yeah, there's also a jet ski. In the full game, you're supposed to be able to unlock a yacht. There's also a houseboat that you can build on, which really caught me by surprise when I first saw that footage. And there's going to be a water park too that was actually a Kickstarter goal. I love that the game runs on its own in-game time, so 2 seconds in real life is a minute in the game. So it's a little slower than The Sims. It feels just right for me, so that there is plenty of time in the day to do stuff. And then it's not like Animal Crossing where you're constantly being time gated and then have to wait until the next day in real life for stuff to happen unless you cheat and time travel. The anime aesthetic is totally a vibe too. I know it's not for everybody, but if you like The Sims, Stardew Valley, My Time at Portia, you owe it to yourself to check this game out. Early access on Steam will start around mid-February. They said it'll be before Chinese New Year, which starts on the 17th. The pricing will be announced on the 2nd, and the full release will happen on PC and console simultaneously in summer of 2026. I am just getting ready now for this game to take over my life. I hope that this game becomes popular because it truly deserves it from what I've played so far. And there you have it, 8 cozy games that I'm looking forward to this year. This was a fun video to make, and now I'm even more excited to cover all these games in the future. So feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What cozy games are you looking forward to in 2026? And be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!